Welcome to Behind the Lash Chair. I'm your host, Alexis Weisenburger, founder and owner of AW Lashes. My goal is to help you as a lash artist grow with tips and tricks on lashing, becoming an entrepreneur, marketing, and so much more. This is an amazing place to find free resources and connect with lash artists all around the world. Let's get started. Welcome back, ladies, to another podcast. I am so excited for this podcast. I'm not going to lie. I think this is actually going to be my personal favorite podcast because we are going to be surfing all the Facebook lash groups and commenting, answering tip questions, sharing horror stories. So we are going to call this, we're going to cruise the Facebook lounges with Christine, Karanda, and myself, Alexis. I'm so excited. What's up, everyone?
Woo! I'm so stoked for this.
I know. Woo! I'm a little paranoid about what you're finding, Karanda.
Yeah, Karanda's going to give us some good feedback.
I'm braiding my hair right now.
All right. Well, I mean, there's so many, so I don't even know where to begin. Karanda, I bet you've already found one.
Yeah, I have found so many. Okay, I read this one just barely about a woman who got lash extensions, I guess. And she went to Sally's and they told, the manager at Sally's told her to use tape-in hair extension bond remover. Ew.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine using that on your eyes?
Yeah. I just want to find this Sally's and call the manager and be like, sorry, you need to stop giving out advice.
Can you imagine the burn? I mean, seriously. Yeah, let's put that on your eyes. Okay. So first tip of advice would be if you need to get your lashes applied or removed, go to a real lash artist.
Right.
Yeah. Step one.
Right?
I'd rather pick it off myself than do that.
Right? Seriously. Oh my heavens.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
There's another girl here that said she went to get her lashes done and the lash artist didn't even put extensions on her. She put brow tint on her eyelashes. Not even lash tint, brow tint. Might be the same thing. And then tried to convince her that she had added in extensions.
What? Okay, as a person who has had both lash extensions and a lash tint, how does she think she's going to pull that one over?
I know. I love a good lash tint, but I came and left with the same amount of lashes.
I've heard perm horror stories too, over processing perms. Yeah. And I personally don't do perms because I just wanted to specialize in the lashing extension, but they kind of intimidate me just because of all the horror stories.
Right. Okay, well, here's one. This one isn't a horror story, but this one will be, this one's dealing with allergy questions. So Alexis, okay, listen for this one because I know you have some tips. So it says, I have this client who got a fill yesterday morning. She woke up like this and it has a picture and her eyes are a little red and swollen. I do a lash bath before every fill. She said the same eye was swollen and itched the day after her last fill as well. It's just one eye. She said it doesn't itch this time, just red and puffy. What do y'all think? She did say she put baby powder on after she self-tanned yesterday. She's been getting them for 6+ months. So she does. You can see her one eye is swollen in comparison to the other eye and a little red. So, but okay, baby powder, tanning stuff aside, Alexis, when you have clients who have kind of itchy eyes, I mean, I know there's some people develop allergies to the adhesives and then they can just never get lashes again. But I think there are some people who do get itchy for a day or so. What have you found that works?
Well, the first thing I always try to do is have them go to the restroom and wipe down their eyes after they get lashed, just so the fumes don't sit on their lash, on their skin. So that's the first thing. I try just to do that. And then when they come back and they're like, oh, I'm still a little sensitive, we actually use a cream at the salon. It's a cortisone cream, and you can buy it on Amazon. And we literally apply it to their top lid and their bottom lid, and they never usually have an issue after that. I know that's crazy, but we totally put the cream on, and we even show it to them because you can get it anywhere. And we say, go buy this cream if you have any issues, and put it on for a few days. But just that like barrier at the end, like, solves a lot of issues. Now, I've never had someone put baby powder,
right?
So I mean, maybe that's that's causing the reaction.
Yeah. Who knows? Well, and self-tanning product. I mean, well, not self-tanning, but even if you go to a salon and you get a tan, those have chemicals in them. That's what's making your skin go tan. So that too, in combination with the adhesive.
Right.
But would you say, like, because I know that, when I go get my lashes done, sometimes when it's allergy season and stuff like that, because I have itchy eyes way more. Like I have never had an issue with the adhesive for lash extensions and things like that. But I know that during allergy season, my eyes get way itchier, and it's just from allergies and stuff. And so one of the things she does is she just, takes a lot more breaks and, is constantly misting and stuff like that. And it takes more time, but, constantly curing the adhesive throughout too.
Yeah, I think that definitely helps. And also, like, just wiping it, like making sure that, because like I hate when I get my lashes done and I'm teary. Yeah. And the fumes just kind of stay in there. I don't know about you guys, if you guys get teary, but it's kind of it just like builds to, like, my eye will always be red for a few days if they don't wipe the tears that are building up or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that too. And then it, like, your natural instinct is that you want to rub them, and then, like, obviously you can't, so you just sit there and, like, gently touch the skin around your eye.
Right. It seriously takes talent to rub your eyes, like with lashes on. You have to be like so careful. So you're just rubbing the lid and not the lashes. Like, I feel like I've got that down. But I was just thinking another thing too, if people are having allergies, would potentially be to trying a clear adhesive.
Yeah, because sometimes it's just the black carbon that's in, glues that are black that are causing a sensitivity. So maybe just trying to use a clear glue could take it away altogether, or even cut it in half, and then, a simple wipe down with water or something at the end could fix, some of those issues.
Yeah. Because I know I've had both black and clear adhesives, and I always feel like there's less fumes with a clear adhesive too. So if it's the fumes that are potentially causing some of that allergic reaction, some of the swelling and those kinds of things, the clear glue would help there too. Okay, Alexis, do you have one?
I do, and it's because I have the OGs of all great marketing. And this question it says, quick question, ladies. I'm just curious, how long did it take you to build a clientele? And what steps did you take? I'm scared I won't get a clientele. I feel like it's hit or miss. Dun, 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 dun.
Well, I will say this. Okay, I
have no fear.
Have no fear.
Right. And Alexis, and I know that you can address this, as you built a clientele in Utah and then moved to Colorado and had to start all over again. So I know we can talk marketing tips and all of those kinds of things. But I will say, I do want to say, like, one thing just to, like, put it out there is that no matter what, even if you have like a full, quote unquote, full clientele, you can't ever stop posting on Instagram and stop getting yourself out there, because that's just like the normal flow of things. People want to take breaks. Somebody is moving. Somebody can't afford it anymore because it is a luxury service. So if something happens, I mean, man, with inflation going up and stuff like that, there's a lot of people that just can't afford lashes anymore. So I think you need to constantly be putting yourself out there. Even if you feel like you have a full clientele and you can't take any more clients, start a waiting list. But okay, that's a little bit aside. But just because I know lash artists that get so stressed because they'll feel like, oh, I'm good. And then all of a sudden they'll have like 3 clients, because it always seems to like go in waves. And they'll have like 3 clients leave. And so I feel like if you're constantly, keep going, and we'll talk about those things, then you'll always be in like a little bit better place. But first of all, Alexis, okay, so what did you do when you started?
Well, I just like you said, I was constantly posting on Instagram, like my work. I made it pretty easy to book with me, like a link in my Instagram. And then I also kind of what was really did well for me is, when you move to a new place, and then obviously just being a new lash artist, you don't really know like what's going to work or whatever. So I just joined some like local Facebook groups.
Yep.
And then it was in Colorado. It was like Colorado Highlands Ranch, which is where I was going to be working. And I posted, I said, hey, if anyone's looking for a lash artist, I'm new to the area. And I posted my work, and I got like 4 clients from that. And on top of that, like once I moved out here and did their lashes, like all their friends were asking where they went to after that. Like it was, so anyways, I would just suggest like doing your research on those Facebook groups or, things like that, that you kind of feel like, I don't know, like, should I post it? Should I not post it? I think, even in her question I was reading, she seems so scared, but I think just throwing yourself out there, and even if no one comments and no one books, I guess you don't lose anything at the end of the day.
Well, and everybody, even if you're a new lash artist, you've worked with a model, right? You've done somebody's lashes, or you've practiced on a friend. Alexis, I'm sure you can speak to that. I'm sure you had lots of friends and family members that you did discount lashes on for a while, like while you were figuring things out and all of that kind of stuff. You can start there. Having them recommend you to other people, and, because word of mouth is going to help you grow faster than anything else. Yes, you need to be on social media. Yes, absolutely. Those Facebook groups, those are gold. Like I use those all the time too. So many people do, like in my local area as well. But also just start with the people who you are doing their lashes. Ask them to recommend you. Give people discounts. Have a referral program.
For sure.
Yeah.
A referral program is such a good idea. The other thing I think, like, and this is really the true horror story if you're a shy person or if you're like a very humble person, but you just got to hype yourself up. Like there's a girl in my church group that, like, I said to her one time, oh, I've been looking for a new lash artist for like a year and a half. And she was like, oh, I do lashes. And I was like, why did you never tell me? Like most of the time people won't come up to you and say, hey, do you do lashes? Because that's pretty like, off the wall or whatever. But if you go up to people and say, hey, I do lashes, somebody somewhere is going to be looking for lashes. So it is awkward because it's like weird sometimes to promote yourself, and it's weird sometimes to ask your friends like to refer you or give you money. You got to get over that. Like you have to just start talking about yourself because you have a service that people want and people are looking for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. You never know where a conversation is going to lead. Seriously. Right. Like I joke all the time because Alexis and I was at my son's basketball game, and I happened to start up a conversation with one of the other moms and got to it where we were talking about like lash extensions. And I basically talked her into doing a training because she's a cosmetologist. She does hair and stuff, and to doing lash training and everything else just from some random conversation I was having with another mom. So you just never know. So make sure that people know what you do and that you're good. If you've done the training and you've done the work, let people know for sure.
Yeah, right. Totally.
Okay, Coranda, are we ready for another horror story?
Yes, I have one from our girl Meg, who's she's one of the lash influencers for AW, and she's so freaking funny. But let me find this really, really quick.
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I can share a horror story while you find it. Because I have plenty of
you're good.
stories.
I just found it. Okay. She said, I had a client. She had a bad experience getting lashes over 5 years ago. She started coming to me, and I was not prepared for this. She would open her eyes during the appointment and look around. I would be placing a lash and she would open up her eyes. She would wiggle and move the entire appointment. But then she started touching her private areas over her clothes while I was doing her lash.
Ew.
This went on for several fills until I felt too uncomfortable to service her any longer.
My gosh. I feel like we should send Megs flowers after this. Like, she's probably traumatized.
Can you imagine?
Oh,
I mean, I guess she felt comfortable there.
it sounds like she'd feel comfortable about anywhere, though.
Many situations where you'll be uncomfortable. And that's not a way to deal with stress.
Like, how do you address that, though? Like, hey, I see that you're touching yourself. Like, can you not? Like, how do you, other than just never responding to her, like, how do you get rid of her?
I know. How do you, like, gently, like, give somebody a blanket and say, like, I don't want to see this right now.
Just keep doing it underneath the blanket, okay?
Like, you really can't wait an hour and a half until you're home? Ew.
Until you're home? Oh, that's terrible. That's traumatic.
Okay. I think that I would probably just go out of business and crawl under my bed.
Right.
You know, I kind of turned them down in a gentle way. Like, they never know I'm, like, rejecting them. Like, I'm like, yeah, just text me to rebook. And I give them my number, and then I just ghost them.
Oh, no.
I know that's terrible, but, like, I literally just ghost them because I don't want them to rebook with me there. So I just am like, oh, like, my app's not working or something like that. And then I ghost them. I know that's terrible, but, you know, you can see these horror stories and it's just not worth the money.
Oh, yeah.
What about you, Christine?
Well, you ready for another one?
Yes, please.
Always.
Okay. So this one, in fact, I was just reading it because I feel like this kind of goes in with that story that Karanda was just talking about with Meg. And I just think dealing with clients in general, I think it causes a lot of anxiety for a lot of lash artists to know how to fire a client or how to say uncomfortable things or whatever, and to deal with that. And so this one, okay, so it says, I am currently on a plane and want to get this "you're fired" text out of the way. Backstory: this lady has been coming for maybe 6 months. Her lashes are filthy, like the worst I've ever dealt with. She constantly insists she washes them and doesn't wear makeup, but my tools say differently. Then she complains after every service, saying I put one longer lash on her right eye just to mess with her. Like, ma'am, you don't even wash your lashes. They come back a different color than when you leave. Anyway, I sent her to my student while I was on vacay, hoping she'd just stay with her, but she made an appointment for June, and I'm going to decline it. I just can't get over the anxiety because I know once I send it, she'll start calling me, and she loves to yell at me. When I told her she had to go to my student because she didn't pre-book, she literally yelled at me. I just cannot. So if any of y'all can help me formulate a text I could copy and paste, that would be great. And then she actually had a video included, and the lashes, believe me, they are disgusting. Like big crusty things. Like, she does not wash her lashes. It can't.
Oh, that is so gross.
You know, one thing I do with my clients that struggle with cleaning them, and they come in and they, you know, tell me, oh, I've cleaned them. And I go to the bathroom with them with the lash bath and, like, show them how to clean their lashes in front of me.
Right.
And it sounds like she's super grumpy, and I don't know if this would even work on her, but, like, to a normal person, once I go to the bathroom, because maybe that's what they're struggling with, is they're just too scared to get aggressive and get in there. They do a lot better. And as well as if I notice they come back and they're still just, like, not good, I always just send them to the bathroom. I'm like, hey, you know, I have 5 more minutes. Do you want to just go and clean them? And they're like, oh, sure, I'll go ahead and clean them. And they clean them a lot more aggressive at the salon. So, I mean, that's one way. But breaking up, I don't know. That's so tough.
Have you ever had to break up with a client, Alexis?
Well, yes. I mean,
You
you
do
heard
it.
me, first of all, ghosting
Alexis
them.
is like, no, I just ghost them.
But no, I actually, over the years, I've gotten better, but at first it was really hard. And there's crazies. Like I said, I could go on and on about these crazy people that come in. And I mean, I just am honest with them at the end. I'm like, I just don't think I am a good fit to be your lash artist. And they really do take offense. And I actually blame it on me. I always, in a way, like, I'm like, I don't think I can do the job you're looking for. And they're like, well, you're doing such a great job. I'm like, well, every time you come in, you say how I'm doing something wrong. And so I just have gotten to the point where I don't feel comfortable doing your lashes anymore because I feel like I'm not doing a good job. And then I go home and I don't feel good about, what you've said to me. So I think it's just best if you find someone else. And if you want some referrals for people in the area, I can definitely give you those. But I also never refer them to someone else in the salon because I'm not that evil. So
Yeah.
No, but it's
They move
true.
from your chair to the next chair.
You're like,
right.
just kidding.
Yeah. And then after that, if they kind of go crazy, I just wouldn't respond, like you said what you needed to say. And I don't think you need to sit there and have a conversation with someone who's just going to yell at you.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the nice thing about this is that like you are providing a luxury service. Like this is not like the DMV. People don't need to come and get their lashes done. And like you do not need to let people talk to you in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, or like if they're constantly trying to like, whittle down on your pricing, or they're not good for your schedule. Like this is a very, very high end. I mean, not like hugely high end, but a luxury service for a lot of people that you don't owe anybody anything.
Absolutely. And you can't, I mean, I know it's hard. And we just talked about in a couple of questions ago about building a clientele. And so I know sometimes, especially new lash artists feel like they can't break up with a client because what happened? Well, that's money, and if I break up with this client, am I going to have enough money? Am I even going to be able to buy food? Am I going to be able to pay rent? And I think we go through this, but is it worth, like, you know what I mean? Like taking that hit to your self-esteem. Like you were even talking about Alexis, like not feeling good. If somebody's constantly yelling at you and telling you you're doing a crappy job, well, number one, why do they want to come to you?
Yeah.
Right.
But number two, you don't deserve that. That's not going to help you become a better lash artist. I mean, even if you have to break up with some nasty clients and do like a side hustle or something for a minute, do it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Have respect in yourself too. Break up with those clients.
Right.
Sure.
And I think it comes like with confidence, because when you're young and you're starting out, or like relatively new and you're trying to make money, and somebody says something to you like, well, I could find somebody cheaper. You're like, oh my gosh, no, please don't. But then as you get, more experienced and more confident, and you have clients who would happily, pay you and tip you for whatever, you're worth. When somebody says something like, well, I could find somebody cheaper, you're like, okay, go.
Bye.
Just kidding.
Right. Like that's not the threat that they think it may be.
No, I used to have this client in Utah that I was working in a hair salon. I was the only lash artist. And this lady would come in and, walk past all the hair salon chairs, come in the back room, and she would, after I was done doing her set, and she'd always compliment me. So she wasn't like yelling at me or anything after. She would take out this magnifying glass and she would look at them. And then she'd be like, okay, I got to do a breeze test. And I was like, what? What's a breeze test? Do you guys have any? Can you guys guess what a breeze test is?
I'm just thinking she's like violently swinging her head around to see how well they'll do in the wind.
Yeah, she said when she walks and she could feel one tickling her, she doesn't like that lash. So she would get up and then go around to the whole salon. So like all the hairdressers are like, what's she doing? What's going on? And because she'd walk around with this magnifying glass and a tweezer, and she would walk with it. And then she'd be like, grab one that moved or, blew in the wind of her walking, and come back and be like, okay, this one, I can't have this one. and then we'd have to pop it off, put on a smaller one, or not put one on at all. And it was like traumatizing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Can you just imagine you're getting your hair done and you see a woman walking around like Sherlock Holmes with a magnifying glass? She's just like, don't mind me, just doing my breeze test. Like, you have to walk pretty briskly. So she's like power walking through the salon with her little magnifying glass.
Seriously.
Like, okay,
that's what I'm
Inspector
saying.
Gadget,
It was
like,
traumatizing. Everyone would like look at me and be like, what is she doing? And like, I'd be like, oh, it's just a breeze test, I guess that's what we're calling it. And they're like, what? Like, and you know, I do most of the hairdressers at the salon's lashes, like, and they're like so confused. They're like, one's tickling her when she walks. Like, what?
When
like,
she walks, I have a lash tickling me.
Yeah.
how busy is this woman? Like, how fast is she walking?
That's the thing, is she's not walking that fast.
She's a power walker.
Crazy.
I would pull out one of those like industrial fans that they use when they're like
Driving.
retiling floors or whatever. And you're just like, let me save you the steps.
Right. Traumatizing.
Throw her on a roller coaster, see how well they tickle her.
Can you imagine like those big old fans, like huge ones, right? The industrial, like making her face all go funny and like blowing her lashes. And that one tickles. Just kidding. So anyway,
it'd be like the whole
how's
thing.
the breeze test?
Oh, she was crazy.
That's so funny. Oh yeah, I would be traumatized by that.
I have a random question to throw at you, Alexis. This one's for you. So
Okay.
I was just scrolling down and I just saw that somebody moved to a new area and they were trying to find another lash artist to do swaps with. How do you feel about that? Like where you do their lashes and they do yours.
Well, I do feel like that's the best trade. Like that's actually the only trade I do is a lash fill for a lash fill. Because I mean, and you guys can jump on this because I know you guys, you know, sometimes trade for, you know, your services. But I've never had a good trade other than the same service trade. I used to try to trade with a hairdresser and that kind of, it ruined our relationship, and she was super nice. And it was because, you know, I get my hair done every 8 weeks to 12 weeks. And then she would come in for fills every 2. And I do take longer than some lash artists. Some lash artists only do like hour fills. I do like 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and you know, my hair would take 3 hours. So if you're doing it timed, then, you know, after I should be getting my hair done once a month, but I didn't need my hair done once a month. And so it was me personally just feeling uncomfortable because I was just like, man, like I'm just wasting, or I'm just giving her like the hookup on, you know, all these free fills. And then I get my hair done, and I get that their service is more expensive, but after, you know, 2-3 fills, it kind of adds up.
I'll admit I do trades with my lash artist. I help her like with marketing stuff, but I feel like you have to have like similar prices. Do you know what I mean? And kind of doing it on time, like you just said, like kind of similar time. And I also feel like you need to have people that respect each other and their time. So like sometimes when I haven't been helping her as much or like doing as much for her and giving her as much advice and helping her on her business and all that kind of stuff, I'll pay for my appointment. You know what I mean? And so you need to like have somebody, if you're both respecting each other and your time and those kinds of things, I think any kind of trades can work. But you just need to be respectful and realize that sometimes, you know, it's not going to be an even trade, and that you need to always be okay, like stepping up and making up those differences. But what I was thinking about is like with trades with other lash artists, well, what happens if you don't like their work?
Oh, that would be hard. I mean, first off, I think a lash artist could tell whether they like their work unless they're kind of editing their photos a lot, you know, like whether they because you can kind of see like, oh, she does longer lengths, or she makes them more wispy, or she does them a lot shorter.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think going in with that expectation, and there's some people out there, and it's totally fine if you're this person, but they just need it free, so they don't care how it is. So then maybe just knowing that expectation, like, you might not like it, but, you know, your husband's not mad at you because it's free.
That's me. I'm not kidding.
It's like, there's nothing wrong with that, but like, if they're just happy to have it done for free, but you're trying to do it well, then there could be a little bit of disconnect, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's awesome. There's another girl at the salon that trades hair and extensions, and we've talked, and she's like, oh, I know it's not fair, but, you know, once again, I just don't want to pay for the service. And
see, and that's what I was talking about, the respect thing.
Yeah. And that's totally fine. And I just don't think that's just my personality then, quite simply, because I really do care about every set. Like, my clients always laugh at me when they come in. They're like, oh, Alexis, she's going to take 5 extra minutes and run behind because she has to get every lash and things like that. So I just kind of get butthurt because I'm always making sure I'm doing a good job. So then when someone like doesn't pay me or things like that, so it's me. And I think it's just learning your personality too. Like, trades never gone good with me. So I just have to either trade for the same service, and we do it every 2 weeks. We trade on each other, or just not do them at all. Because even like a massage therapist I've tried to trade with, and once again, she takes an hour. I take an hour and a half. You know, we were doing it once a month. I was doing hers every 2 weeks. It was just, you know, it's never worked out for me.
So I would say there is no right or wrong answer with trades. It's just, if you find the right person, it'll work.
Maybe I'm just not good at that. Like, maybe it's just my personality, and that's okay.
Yeah. Well, like I said, if both people feel like they are respected and both people feel like they are getting a good result, then both people will be happy. You know,
and there's definitely a honeymoon stage too. Like, I've gone home and I'm like to my husband, this is great. I love this free massage. And then after so many months, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm wasting, like, I'm doing her lashes way more than she's giving me X, Y, and Z. And that's, once again, so that's why I stopped, because and I want to go and enjoy my service now. Like, I've gotten to the point in my life where I'm like, I'm okay paying and being a customer.
And there you go.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should do like one more. I definitely think we should continue this series and do another one too.
Oh my gosh, they're so funny. And the good thing is that they're always coming up.
There's always questions, and there's always horror stories.
Oh, yes. I guess I'll share one more horror story, because I just can't not share it. This lady, and it was just a few months ago, was just a nightmare client. She wasn't even my client. She would come into another lash artist and her dog, and I get it, like, people have emotional support animals and things like that. But her dog would come in, and the first time this lady came in, she's like, oh, is there a massage table for this dog? We're like, what? And she's like, well, when I get coupled massages, I take my dog, and my dog gets their own bed.
You're like, does your dog want lashes too?
We're like, no. And then the dog jumps on one of the beds, and it scared the heck out of me, because it's like a huge poodle that came in. It was huge. And, you know, I'm the owner, you know, but then the other lash artist, I'm trying to like help, because I feel bad, because you never know what walks in. But she kept servicing her, and she was, you know, this lady, you know, was single her whole life. She obviously, we actually were trying to look into this to see if her dog was a service animal.
That's what I was
wasn't.
Yeah. Okay.
But that being said, having that conversation with a lady that was this level, and I actually asked, which is funny, this is like, I asked my dog trainer, because yes, we hired a dog trainer, and he said, if even you question it, people still are crazy enough, like, they could sue you. Isn't that crazy?
So
for real?
How do you get around something like that then? Because like, what happens if you have other clients who have dog allergies? Because the dander and stuff from dogs can stay on the beds. It can get in, around.
Well, that's where she could win. Like she was, because her dog was a poodle, so it doesn't have any of that either. So I was going to say that, and then I was like, crap, it's a poodle. I can't say any of those things either. And obviously it wasn't a service dog, because like service dogs are amazing. And I don't mind service dogs in the salon. They just lay next to the owner.
Yeah, but that's different too, because then that person needs it and they've gone through like the training and stuff. I mean, can you, if you have something, because I'm sure this is going to come up more and more for people,
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you post something that says like no animals allowed unless it's a service animal, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
And a lot of places, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
a lot of places like airlines and restaurants and even Disneyland have been like cracking down on this. They don't say like, animals specifically. They say like trained service animals. And if you try to bring an animal in, they say, what service does the animal provide? And like just emotional support most of the time is not enough. Like if you have like seizures or you have severe anxiety to the point that like you can't function and your dog is actually a lead dog, then it's allowed. But like just for comfort, most of the time, like even airlines will say like, okay, well, you need to like put the dog in a kennel and pay a ticket for it, because that's not like, I'm not trying to be like hard-hearted and like grow up or whatever, but like emotional support is not a medical service to the point that they need to like allow space for you to bring this animal.
Yeah. And I think we need to qualify this because all of us are animal lovers and have had dogs and things like that. So I think this is coming from a different standpoint, because you are going to have clients that feel uncomfortable in that kind of a setting with like a big dog laying on a lash bed. You know what I mean? Like you are going to have other clients who feel very uncomfortable in that kind of setting. I think everybody is okay with service animals, but you have to go through a certification to have a service animal. You actually have documentation if they're a service animal. So I think being able to say, hey, we welcome service animals. And so knowing that up front, and if you are having issues with that, like, or you want to, and who knows, maybe you're a salon that welcomes animals. And I think there should be salons out there that do. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, sure, bring your animals, whatever. But then people expect that when they come to that salon, that there are going to be animals there. And that's fine, because there will be some people who they'll gravitate towards that, and other people who will be like, you know what? That is just not for me. I'm not going there. So
exactly.
Being able
if that's like your each area, like a dog friendly, salon or whatever, then that's totally fine. Exactly. But like, if you don't know for sure if your artist is comfortable with that, or the other paying customers in the salon are comfortable with that, like, it's just best to, I don't know, I'd err on the more respectful side, I guess.
And that is so crazy that you could be sued if you say, hey, we only allow, documented service animals here.
Yeah, I mean, and who knows, like my dog trainer could have just been very like on the cautious side, or heard of stories, So I don't know. I didn't want to take the risk. And luckily she doesn't come to our salon anymore. But that's like a whole other, that was a hard breakup, because that lash artist left and didn't tell this lady she was leaving. So this lady came in trying to find this lash artist, and once again had a mental breakdown in front of all of us. Like, I thought we were best friends, and like, I think this, then she started like blaming me as the owner. She's like, I think you just don't want to tell me where she is. And I'm like, no. Like,
you're like, I am a booth renter. I'm like their landlord.
Yeah. If I know where she was, I would be sending you there. Trust me, lady. And so,
like, girl, I would tell you if I knew.
Yeah. And so, and then we actually gave her to someone else at the salon. And then during the appointment, she had a mental breakdown, started crying.
Oh my God.
Had to go to the bathroom several times. And then I finished my client early, so I was able to step in and finish the set. And the lady was she was a mess. And finally, after her trying pretty much everyone at the salon, she left. And it was just, she was a mess.
Sounds to me like she should probably go get that animal certified, because she probably needs that dog for emotional support. And so I mean, man, I don't know, somehow if you became good friends with her, saying, hey, you know what, you should go get your dog certified so that you can, legally take your dog anywhere you need to go, because it sounds like she needed that dog for emotional support. So at least she has the dog.
Yeah. I just need
like you were saying, find a salon that like it's dog friendly.
And maybe that can be your thing. Like if you are a total animal lover and you want to have your dog with you and you don't work out of your home, tell people you're a pet friendly salon. That could be kind of a cool little niche, that you could have in your area.
Yeah, I think that's super cool. The only reason it was always hard for that dog is because the lady would close her eyes, and then once again the dog's not trained, so now it was the lash artist's responsibility. Like the dog went and drank the toilet water, tried to get into the trash, like obviously not trained.
So a whole different
once again,
yeah.
Once again, if it was a service dog, no issue.
Yeah, because I was envisioning it just laying on the bed the whole time. But that makes sense. It's the same reason why a lot of lash artists specifically say they don't want kids to come to appointments.
Yeah, like don't bring your kids.
Same reason. In fact, the other day, my husband's like, oh, can't you just take Hannah with you? Okay, Hannah is my daughter who's 4, for those of you who don't know. So
we love Hannah.
I cannot take her with me to my lash appointment. My eyes are closed. I am not going to inflict my 4-year-old on other people.
Yeah.
Exactly. They do not need her level of sassiness. So
again, coming back to this being a luxury service, like you should want, there's nothing wrong with like taking an hour or 2 out of your week to like be away from your kids or be away from your dog if you're able, but like you should want an hour or 2 to just like sit and relax, because it is a luxury appointment.
Yep. And
I will say, as a salon owner, there's like this age for me that I don't love, and it's like that 4-year-old stage. But once they turn like 8,
you love Hannah. I'm just kidding.
Oh yes, but that being said, like there's just like once they hit like 8, 9, and they love their iPads, when there's an emergency and those kids come in, they're more responsible. So like as a lash artist, it takes a lot of pressure off of us, knowing like they can go to the bathroom by themselves. They are on their iPad. They love their iPad versus like, the younger ages. It's just a lot harder because then we become a babysitter and a lash artist.
Yeah. Well, and I will say this, as a mom of 5, like I wouldn't even bring a 10-year-old to my lash appointment, because he is just like, he's so into sports and he's just constantly going and constant motion. And my 7-year-old would literally be finding things to climb on. So I think that's probably why most lash artists have like a no kid rule, because no 2 kids are created equally. Right.
Yeah.
And the iPad entertainment only lasts so long before you start hearing, I'm bored. And your eyes are literally like taped shut and you're, so it's just one of those things. And I guess it kind of goes in, and we should do a podcast sometime on policies, because having policies in place to protect yourself, in some ways you've got to think through like all of those,
every possible situation that could happen.
Yeah. And think through every possible thing that could happen. And I mean, I guess you also have to view your policies as kind of like a living document. They always need to be updated. So as you hit and run into different situations and things like that, that you can update them and adjust them and just let your clients know as you go. And because, man, you're going to get put in some interesting situations and you need to protect yourself. So,
yeah, I mean, even just the other day, okay, here's another one. This will be my last one.
You're good.
The other day we have a client that comes in, and she's not completely blind, but she can't see far. I think it's up close or something like that. Like she has like a walking stick, but she loves her lashes because she can she grabs a mirror and looks up close, and she can still text. So I don't know the depth of her blindness.
Mm-hmm.
But one of our girls does her lashes, but every time she does her lashes, she has to Uber to the salon. So she could be early, she could be late, but she's usually late. And, she came to me, the lash artist came to me asking me hey, what should I do? She's usually late. And it's so hard because it's, how do you tell someone who's kind of handicapped, hey, you're late you're sometimes 30 minutes late to your appointment, right? Like that's a hard situation.
Yeah, that would, because I mean, she is a paying customer, but still, like, you need to be responsible for like other people's time and like the commitment that you said you'd make.
Yeah. And once again, it's hard because she's not the one driving. She's depending off the Uber. So, you have to like tell her like, hey, like, can you get your Uber driver early and things like that. But it's just so hard because it's just like lash artists get put in sometimes some hard situations for sure.
Yeah, that, you don't want it to seem like the problem is not that she's blind. The problem is that she's late.
And how do you plan your schedule and how do you have clients before and after? I mean, I guess you could always just make her the last appointment of the day.
Yeah, that is true.
So that then if she's late, you don't have other clients backing up. I mean, you might get home a little late. So, but maybe if you just make her like the last appointment for the day and in your schedule for anything else you have planned that evening, you pad it with like an extra 30 minutes. But that's about that's the only solution that pops in my mind really quick.
Yeah, that would be really hard.
Actually, I just thought of this and I should give this advice to her. So I do have a client that's always 15 minutes late. So I actually do overlap a client with her. So she gets a text reminder that her appointment's at, 10:15 and her appointment's actually at 10:30. And she's usually only waiting on me for 15 minutes or something. But once again, it's not a half an hour anyways. But yeah, sometimes I've done that in the past to kind of like buffer out people that are just always late.
Yeah. That's funny. I do that with my sister-in-law. Whenever we need to be anywhere, I always tell her that, we need that the actual start time is 30 minutes before it really is starting.
Yeah, we do that with family parties.
It's brilliant. Well, you guys, I had so much fun cruising these lounges with you, these lash lounges. It's so fun.
There's so many more good ones. I keep reading. I'm like, oh my heavens, next time we're for sure doing that one.
I know. Take a screenshot and we'll have to do it again.
Seriously.
Right? Well, then there'll also be new ones too. It's like, how do you, we could do this forever.
Right.
Well, thank you guys so much again, Christine, Caranda, and we will talk to everyone in a few weeks and we'll have to do this lash lounge again.
Thanks, everybody.